fears reaching a whole new level. Check out this picture of one woman at D.C.'s Dulles Airport waiting for her flight in a hazmat suit, kind of a homemade hazmat suit. Psychologist Dr. Jennifer Duffy says the hysteria outbreak could soon be worse. Well, first of all, on this, do you think this is just a stunt, or do you think this is the real thing?
I think you're going to end up seeing more of that as time goes on because, anxiety is created by things that we don't know. There's uncertainty with the Ebola virus. And the problem is we've been watching this for months unfold from afar, and now our worst fears have come true because it's now in our country.
And we do have a lot of germaphobes. I think of that Jack Nicholson movie where he had this germ phobia. He couldn't stand, he had to wipe everything down. I mean, this could cause those people with those phobias, and I imagine there are hundreds of thousands of folks like that, to go nuts.
They're going to be even off the wall. But the problem is that we look to the government, and our president and the head of the CDC have made many broad statements that are
also made many blunders.
Absolutely. And the next day you find out they're false. So most people now start to wonder, can we trust the government? Can we trust what they're telling us? And if you look at those statements, you think one or two things. Either they don't know what they're talking about, or they're withholding information. Either way, you lack confidence in your leaders, and you're only going to feel more anxious.
So what do we do? Because on the one hand, we understand that panic can hurt. Panic can cause all sorts of problems that we don't want to have. On the other hand, we see the government lying to us. How do we find a middle ground here?
Well, the middle ground's like you have to be able to live your life and use common sense, but also, too, I think that the government has to get it right. And they have to be truthful.
Well, that's a big stretch right now. There's no precedence for that happening. There's a guy, by the way, when you have people like this walking through the aisle of your plane, you get even more nervous.
Well, you're right. And yet, if they told the American public what they know or what they don't know, at least we have confidence that they're going to tell us the truth. And right now, I don't think that people have much faith in the government, so they're kind of taking their measures into their own hands, like putting on a hazmat suit or being afraid of traveling.
As a psychologist, have you seen an increase of kind of neurotic behavior based on current events?
Definitely. The people that I see, it's on their minds to some extent. And even with my children, they're very worried about it. They're constantly talking about their fears about dying. All their friends are talking about it. And, we don't really have any answers.
The people who you counsel who already may have had kind of fears or phobias going into this thing, are they now just locking themselves in their house at night?
It definitely affects their behavior. They're reluctant to travel. You can see if they do have to travel, they're going to put on a hazmat suit or wipe everything down because that's...
I'm just wondering whether it really does eventually hit industry, like hit the airlines, hit the vacation spots, etc.
Of course, people are going to be afraid to travel. People are going to be afraid to go into the emergency room. I think to myself, the flu season is going to be a nightmare. Everybody that has a temperature is going to think that they possibly have Ebola. And yet the symptoms are similar, and there's going to be a lot of overreaction, and people are going to be afraid to go to their local hospital for care.
It's one reason it is affecting the markets. This is going to have an economic spin-off.
It's going to be a disaster.
Dr. Jennifer Duffy, good to see you. Thank you very much. Well, could this